Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Brian Davis and Denny Sipley here from Spark Rental. So glad to be with you on this Tuesday afternoon. And if we seem like we're a little more amped up than usual, it's because we are more amped up than usual. We are hosting a live webinar tonight and a second one tomorrow. And we are really pumped about it. We are going to
Yes.
be teaching you all about real estate syndications, how they work, specifically how middle class investors can access them, because they've historically just been like country club deals for the wealthy only. So we're going to talk about some of the legal loopholes that you can use to invest like the wealthy in some of these passive real estate syndications, where you can earn 15 to 50% or higher returns
Which is
without actually
amazing.
having to yeah, without having to do the hassles of renovating properties, finding deals, getting financing, dealing with tenants calling you at 3 a.m. about plugged toilets, all that stuff. So we're going to put a link in the comments to where you can register for that webinar. And today we'll be talking about a related topic, active real estate investing, the traditional go out, buy rental properties, etc., versus passive real estate investing in things like crowdfunding and things like real estate syndications, because there are pros and cons to both. So with that being said, Denny, let's jump in here and talk about what exactly active real estate investing is versus what passive real estate investing is, because not everyone is 100% clear on the distinction
On
between
the
those two.
difference. Well, active real estate investing is pretty much what I've done most of my life.
Me too.
And yeah, um, basically, you're going to use your time, your capital, and it's going to be your risk. So you're all in this by yourself, usually. Um, and it's some work. I mean, it's not all bad, but there's not all
Yeah,
bad.
no, it's there's pros and cons to both, like
Right.
we mentioned. Um,
Um, so that's active. Um, on the
you buy
other,
property under your own name, basically, or
yeah,
maybe under a
yes,
legal entity that you own,
and then you manage it and you deal with all the day to day, or hire a property manager and then make sure that they're
and then
handling.
manage the manager.
Right, I was gonna say that. Yeah, make sure they're handling the day to day
Taking the words out of
properly.
your mouth.
Um, so with that being said, passive real estate investing is a lot different. It's kind of the benefits still of active real estate investing,
A lot of
but
them, yeah.
yeah, but you don't have the hands-on anymore. You don't have to answer the phone at midnight or when you happen to see your renter in the supermarket and they run after you and they're like, "Yo."
I've had renters
I've
come to
had
my
that
house
happen.
at night
Oh,
before. I
I
mean,
haven't.
it was on one of my first dates with Katie, who's now my wife. But at the time,
Oh, and
it
she
was like our
still
fourth
married
date. She'd
you.
come, yeah, yeah. She came over. I made her dinner. We put on a movie, and we're sitting on, I don't know, it's like 9:30 at night on like a
Oh,
Wednesday or something. We're sitting on the couch watching a movie, and then boom, 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 boom. Like there's there's the
that's
knock at the door, and it's my renter who doesn't speak English. And he brought an interpreter, and he didn't come with a chainsaw or anything to
well, that's
massacre me.
good. That's good.
But it still was not the what I wanted to be doing at 9:30 at night on a Wednesday when I was on a date. I mean, like
I've had people approach me in stores and give me a maintenance request, and I was like, "Oh, I'll just write it over here on the cereal box." Anyway, so you don't have all those, dealings,
you just write
and
a check.
right, you don't have collection of rent, all that stuff. You write a check, and basically, you want to do some due diligence in the beginning. Write a check, and then wait for your returns.
Right. Sit
Basically,
back and collect the distributions and eventually collect the big paycheck at the end when the property sells.
right? Which is nice. So there are different ways to do this. You have REITs, which is real estate investment trust. There's crowdfunding, real estate funds, and then syndication investing, um, which is to me one of the cooler of them. But they're all really, really neat.
Oh, they're great.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, Denny, you and I both have money tied up in real estate crowdfunding investments. We have money in real estate syndications. I have a little bit of money in publicly traded REITs. Um,
Land.
so yeah, and actually, as another passive form of investing, I've got some money in a private note to an active real estate investor. Actually, you know them, the Thompsons out in Ohio.
Oh, right, right.
Uh, So, yeah, so tonight we're going to be focusing on real estate syndications, but like you mentioned, there are many different ways to invest passively in real estate. So, what are some of the pros and cons of each? I mean, I guess let's start with active investing because most people are more familiar with that. What are
Right.
the pros and cons of going out and actively buying real estate yourself in your own name?
Well, I mean, the pros are you have the control. It's
Right,
yours. You do what you want to do.
right,
And it's you have a long-term equity build, and that also is yours. The cons are like we spoke before. It's time consuming. It can be extremely aggravating. Um, you have a pretty large cash outlay in the beginning,
right.
and for repairs and whatnot. Um,
Yeah, and I mean down payment. So Denny and I were just talking yesterday about how the median home price in the U.S. is well over $400,000 at this point. So even if you get a mortgage for that, a 20% down payment is still $80,000 on a
yeah,
$400,000 property, which is not trivial. Most of us don't have that just sitting around collecting dust. Um, and like you just mentioned just now, sometimes you have capital outlays unexpectedly, right? Where oh, we need a new roof, $20,000. I mean, I guess that example is not super unexpected. You can you can tell how much life is
yeah.
remaining in your
Hopefully.
roof. But you see the point though that you're going to have unexpected repair costs, and sometimes they're quite significant, thousands of dollars. Uh,
And there's time in the purchase, going through the mortgage, getting
oh
all that
yeah,
paperwork together. I
finding
mean,
deals is a ton of
and
work.
that. So those are definitely the cons. The pros of um, syndication or I'm sorry, passive. I have syndication in the brain right now.
Yeah,
Passive
it's all we've thought
investing.
about for the last
I
month putting
know.
together this webinar.
Is no hands on. You don't have to deal one on one with the renters. Your returns are pretty stable. And
And high returns too, actually.
yes, yes. And you don't have the stress and the aggravation, which is nice. It's almost like I don't like to say a win win, but it
Oh,
is
it's totally a
kind
win-win.
of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, And then the cons, really, the only con that I could see is but there's a risk with anything. So there is going to be a risk. And you don't have as much control. But I mean,
Right.
I don't know if that's a con.
Well, I mean, some people really value control.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a few other cons with real estate syndications. I mean, one of them is that most of them have a high minimum investment. So you're looking at typically a minimum of
Mhm.
$50,000 investment in a deal. Now, Denny and I, as we have a co-investing club where we all get together and we pool funds together to invest in these. So each individual investor only has to come up with $5,000 or $10,000, which I say only. It's still a significant amount of money, but it's a lot less than 50 to a hundred
It
thousand
is.
dollars, like a normal syndication, or like coming up with a down payment for a property to buy actively. Um,
And
so
you can
yeah,
actually spread money over a few deals for the price of
exactly.
a down payment. So,
Right. Yeah. So, if you do invest with a tribe, like our co-investing club, but it doesn't have to be, it could be your own friends. If you're only putting $5,000 in each deal, you could buy into 10, 15 real estate syndications for the same amount of money that it would cost you to put a down payment on a rental property, or to buy into a traditional real estate syndication by yourself.
yes.
Uh, so that's
Has anybody here ever done anything like this? Please put in the comments. Let us know what kind of creative real estate investing you've done.
yeah, yeah. We love to hear this stuff. And let's see other cons of real estate syndications. It can be hard to find syndication deals that allow non-accredited investors. So if you
Mm,
guys aren't familiar with that term, an accredited investor is a wealthy investor, net worth over $1 million. Um, so historically, real estate syndications really have been for the wealthy. Nowadays, it is easier to find deals that allow middle class investors, and that's actually what we're talking about tonight on the webinar, how to access these as a middle class investor. But that's been hard historically for middle
Yes,
class investors to access these. So that's been a challenge
which is
for
not
these.
fair, but that's a whole other story for another day.
Indeed. And then one other downside to real estate syndications is they can be complex and intimidating for people who aren't familiar with them. For example, the way that returns are broken down, there's usually a waterfall structure where you know up to X percent, let's say 7%. Maybe it's a preferred return for the limited partners like you and me, the passive partners. But then above that, there's like a 70-30 split. And then above a certain equity multiple, it's a 50-50 split. And that can be intimidating for novice investors, people who just aren't familiar with how real estate syndications work. And if you aren't familiar with these, it can be intimidating, how to vet sponsors, how to vet
Yes.
deals, because a lot of the lingo is kind of jargony, and it's industry jargon, and it's not very newcomer friendly. And the
But this is
numbers.
all stuff we are going to be talking about in much more detail tonight and giving a
Exactly.
lot of good information, so that the there is no longer those barriers to passive investing for the middle income people.
Right. So we're gonna go through tonight and talk about all the obstacles for middle class investors investing in real estate syndications, and then we're gonna go through and knock down every single one of those obstacles to make it more accessible for you. Um, oh, and you know what? One final thought, one final advantage to active real estate investing that we didn't talk about tax benefits yet
Oh,
right now. Um, Almost all the tax benefits of direct property investing do carry over with real estate syndications. So as a passive investor in real estate syndications, you get almost all of those exact same tax benefits. The one difference is that when you have passive losses on real estate syndications, you can only use those to offset other sources of passive income. And you can carry
not
them
your active
forward to,
income.
yeah, yeah. So you can carry them forward to future years. When you own properties directly, when you're a landlord and you report losses on your rental income as a landlord,
Mhm.
there is actually an exception for you as a landlord where you can use up to $25,000 per year in losses to offset active income, not just passive income. So that one loophole is unique to landlords who directly own properties, and
Right.
that does not carry over to passive real estate investors and syndications. But every other tax advantage, from depreciation, all the deductions, all that stuff, that does carry over from direct property investing to passive investing in real estate syndications.
So yet another benefit.
Yes. Yeah. Although, yeah, with that one exception, of
Right.
the offsetting. All right, Denny, any final thoughts on passive real estate investing versus active real estate investing?
No, I just think that tonight is going to be great. I think there's going to be so much information, and it's like you just have to come and see. I know, um, even at my age, learning this stuff because I didn't know a whole lot about this type of passive investing. I did, but I always too thought, Brian, that's not for me. You know. But it is nice. It's nice to see a way for everybody to be able to do it now. And it's kind of exciting, I think. You get to meet other people who you invest with and talk, and it's just really cool.
Oh, it's great. And where else can you consistently earn 15 to 50% returns? I mean,
It's just nothing like getting that check.
yeah. All right. On that note, we will see you guys tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, for the live webinar this evening. We're going to do another live one tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And then that's it. That's all she wrote. So join us tonight. Or if you can't do tonight, then tomorrow afternoon. And we will see you guys there. Bring your questions. It'll be totally
Absolutely.
interactive.
See you there. Bye bye.